Hello, everybody out there in Facebook land, TikTok world, everywhere that this clip is going to be live and streaming and all of that goody good stuff, or where there's a clip going to be made available. So, welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. I am Monty Anderson, your host here at 412 Productions, the art of Monty Anderson. Welcome to the broadcast, everybody. And good morning, Mr. Roy Joe Bradley, Twinkle Toes Sparkle Butt, Twilight Lover Jr. Welcome to the broadcast booth. Bum, bum, bum. What is going on out there in the world? Lots of new opportunities are happening around here, and that is what we are talking about today. Not only am I working on more covers and more comic books for Legacy Comics, but I just got another voice acting tryout, if you will, in my email just yesterday, the day before. I got to go through it. Hey, Casey, welcome to the broadcast booth. We got Roy and Casey, two of our regs here on a regular basis. Let's see. Casey just got his package. He hasn't got it personally. His cousin got it, and he's going to be picking that package up that he received. Let's see. Kirk got his package of the American Horror shirts, the Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, in the American Gothic style. And let's see. I'm waiting for some shirts to come in so that another viewer gets to get their shirt as well as the Wonder Woman shirt. So that's pretty awesome. Let's see. So those of you just joining us, I am Monty Anderson, your host here at 412 Productions. We are talking about new happenings, more happenings, goody good stuff happenings. I got another voice acting gig on the table, so I'm looking forward to that. I just showed you the comic books that I'm doing some new stuff for. It's not for the job this time. It's for his line of Condry, is what it's called. And I'm excited about that one. I'm about finished with these pieces over here. I started the inking process on this piece right here. Bum, bum, bum. So this one's coming along quite nicely. So again, I got some voice acting gigs. It's still for the Power Ranger stuff, but um, sometimes those are the fun stuff because you can just go crazy, let your wild side out, if you will, because you can be as loud as you want with those characters. Because if anybody's ever seen Power Rangers throughout their life, you know, it is basically a lot of loudness, unless you're the Power Rangers themselves. Then they're more soft spoken. It's always the villains and things like that that are always loud and outspoken, you know. So, and here in the broadcasting booth, we can be as loud as we want to because it's separated from the rest of the house, which is pretty awesome. But that's what's happening here. New opportunities, like I said, with some comic books that I'm working on, some more covers as well through Legacy Comics. Not to mention getting these commissions off my table, getting the big one done, getting the family portrait one done, getting some more kids books going. Lots of stuff is happening here around these parts right now, and that's what we like. But it's also spooky season, and yes, I know that I have not posted um, new artwork for sale in the realm of my horror, HORROR. You know, yes, sir, 100%. Those are fun. Like I said, they are much enjoyable. And, paying gigs. That's the best part about it all. So, but we are looking forward to that. We're looking forward to these new comic books. We're looking forward to a lot of stuff. We're also looking forward to, getting artwork into your hands that you guys want. I changed up my images up here as well on the Facebook and YouTube side. You guys don't get to see that down here. You just get to see my nasty ceiling that I'm probably going to put a mural on, most likely. And don't forget to like, share, and follow while you're here, so that way other people can come in and follow some good content as far as talking about horror movies, sci-fi movies, comic books, artwork, my comics, my artwork, all that good stuff. And I should be right. 412 Productions is going correctly. I already took off the other section. I took off the mirrored section. So I should be going correctly. This should be on my left wrist, right there. And this is on the left hand side, right here. But I understand, Casey. I usually forget to flip that around. But here, I'll show you what it looks like with mirror on, right there. So now 412 Productions is backwards. And we're going to flip this back around to where we are mirrored correctly. And there we go. I saw some football over the weekend, like Dallas destroying the Jets, which everybody's like, oh, well, that's congratulatory because you beat an 0-5 team, blah, blah, blah. Well, that 0-5 team has kicked our ass every year we've played them in like 5 or 6 meetings. So, it was a good day. And then watching the Cardinals become the what were they? What are those cops that you see? The Vaudeville cops, or I can't remember what they're actually called, where they're running around kicking a football into the end zone, and Tennessee recovers it for the touchdown, and then Tennessee comes back and wins the game with the field goal. And then let's see, uh, Carolina Panthers, and him getting stepped on. It should have been touchdown, but wasn't. Then it goes with the go-ahead score. There was a lot of stuff that's happening that's looking very scripted in the NFL here lately. And so yeah, it's there's a lot of stuff that is very interesting. I've sent some stuff to. He's still playing for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and just like Kyler Murray from OU, Jalen Hurts from OU, you know, you're welcome. Thank you for recognizing the service. Was in for 8 years, 6 active, 2 inactive. You know, had I gone out of high school, I would have retired from it. That's how fun it was. But I wouldn't go back and do it again. 11 Bravo here, infantry, 45th Infantry, and you know, it was a great time. Met a lot of great people. Um, I'm not sure what that says, Casey. I know it says football at the end, but did hold on, let me see here. No, it's all good. I'm not sure if you were talking about Disneyland football or with Lilo and Stitch. That's who was playing this weekend. Yes, I played football in high school. Coach had me in the wrong position. I should have been a tight end or a wide receiver because I had the speed. But instead, he used a 178-pound kid, well, more than one, 2 of us, to play line. And we usually got demolished because we had 240-pound guys or 300-pound guys across from us on defense. But I played on defense as well. I was a linebacker uh, as well, which was the fun part, to get to hit people. Um, but yeah, in high school I played football, basketball, and track because that's what they offered at the time. Then they started offering up baseball again, but that was my senior year, and I was like, nah, I'm not going to play baseball. I already did all that. So um, when I was younger, and I got burned out real quick because of my stepdad. He was the coach, one of the coaches. So it was never a fun time just to play. So I was outfield and second base. So I was either center field or second base. And then I did pitch for our team as well. Was never the catcher, never the first baseman, all that good stuff. But I was very athletic in school. Not so much now. Even though I'm active all the time, building stuff. Like I'm building a deck out in the backyard right now, off the back end of our house, to keep us out of the water whenever it flows down from the uphill section from our neighbor's yard and all that good stuff. But it's been fun, doing all that stuff around the house, getting all that good stuff going on. But welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. Again, if you are here, be sure to follow, and you can go up to my social medias up here and join my fan club. Right here, you can go up here and follow all my other socials, where you can see my artwork. My webpage has all of my socials on it. Once you go to my webpage from my profile, you'll be able to see Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and of course, you're here on TikTok with us right now. So, you need coffee. Casey always needs some coffee in the morning. This is my coffee. V8 Energy. Peach mango, best flavor out there. The others taste very chemically and taste like shit. So, that's my plug for V8 Energy. I've even got Roy drinking the V8 Energy instead of the Sody Pops that he so calls it. His Dr. Peppers and Mountain Dews. He likes to do the do. The do due diligence. So, it is a great energy drink. Um, don't forget, we do have t-shirts available. We might end up eventually branching out into the hoodie world as well with our shirts and things like that with our clothing line. Again, getting ready to add 16 more shirts to the whole function of it all, just because we want to have a good quality of, or a good variety that people can get. Um, because if you just have like one or two shirts, that's great, as long as they are selling on a regular basis. And I can answer that for you. Yes, he is. That's why he loves Oklahoma Sooners on a regular basis. Casey. Um, Woo, let's celebrate Roy. He just reached level 10 in the fan club. Congratulations, buddy. Great job for being here and supporting, just like Casey's being here and supporting on a regular basis with all 15 of his accounts. I'm just kidding, Casey. Um, but this is that spooky time season. This is the time when, if guys out there, guys, I'm just going to say, if you get approached by a really attractive woman, be careful. It is sacrifice season out there. Um, so just know that you might not make it out of the woods. Okay. Um, and everybody has their opinions about the spooky season. And you've got your believers, non-believers, you've got your practicers, and if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Me, I believe in it just because I live in a haunted house. Casey, no problem. We understand, man. Um, and I've seen too much stuff in my lifetime to not believe in certain things, like spooks, goblins, ghosts, things that go bump in the night uh, that aren't there. You know, because I have orb activity, I have poltergeist activity, I have all kinds of stuff happening here in the house on a regular basis, and I live with it because it doesn't bother me. Because I've seen things from a young age till just yesterday, you know, uh, and things you can't explain, things you can kind of explain, um, EVPs, hence the voice recorder sitting on my desk. Whenever I start hearing different things, I turn it on just to see what's out there. because sometimes you can catch some really cool stuff. Sometimes you can't understand a word they say, you know, but they're there. It is real, and it's exciting. We are wanting to get some more ghost hunting equipment just so that we can go do some stuff, you know, because there's a lot of cool buildings if we can get permission to go into that we could really potentially catch some good stuff, you know, and that's what we're kind of looking for is because people want to know what's on the other side. Is there another side? Is there a purgatory? Once this life ends, is that it? You never know. Was talking to somebody just the other day, and I was telling them that some of the stuff that they were probably seeing or hearing was probably residual hauntings, which is just a basically a recorded loop, you know, and it has nothing to do with what's going on. It just has to do with what's going on with the house or the piece of property or whatever. Uh, the activity just keeps doing the same thing day after day after day because in life that's what they did day after day after day. So you've got that. You've got your poltergeist activity, which causes disruptions in the house, lights flickering, things being thrown off the walls, those type things. So you get all kinds of different aspects to it all. And one of the guys that was talking over here was talking about the amethyst turning black. And that is basically, if I'm pretty sure they're not here, um, because I can't remember which person it was that told me. It was one of two people, and they were like, yeah, the amethyst turned black in this ritual that this person was doing. So I didn't know what was going on, but it scared the crap out of me. And I'm like, well, I had to go look it up because I didn't know, had no clue. And but basically, what that is doing is taking the negativity from the area and transferring it to that amethyst, and then basically it just used up that amethyst, so it turned it black. So it's not a your purple amethyst anymore or anything like that. It's now a solid black crystal. Uh, so all that negativity just got drawn into that crystal. So I had to go do some research on that one because again, that's something I hadn't heard of. You know, but I do hear a lot about a lot of things. Just like you know, you do research into anything. If somebody tells you something, go do some research. You know, don't just take it at face value because even the stuff that I talk about, I don't know everything 100%. I do go do my research. I have to because if somebody just spoon feeds you little bits of information of something, and you just take it as truth, and then you go talking to somebody that actually knows what the fuck they're talking about, and they're like, hold up, wait a minute, this is what you're really talking about, and now you just look like a fool because you're like, oh yeah, no, this is exactly how it is, and they're like, no, hold up, wait a minute. That's why I have so many different books on folklore and monsters and cryptids and different things floating around the house because I want the knowledge. That's why I continue to learn. That's why I say all the time, one of my sayings is that your mind is only as big as you want it to be because you can limit how much information goes up to here in your brain, you know. But why would you want to do that? Why do you want to take something at face value that someone else told you instead of going and doing the research on any of it? Especially on the paranormal, comic books, horror movies, um, sci-fi movies, the stuff that we talk about here on a regular basis. Oh, sweet, Pocahontas, Louisiana. I've been there. Welcome, ballerina. Are you? the next John Wick movie. There is a new movie out. I believe it's a movie that's from the John Wick universe called Ballerina. So, um, but welcome to the broadcast booth. And I am Monty Anderson here, your host at 412 Productions, the art of Monty Anderson. We talk about all kinds of things from the spooky, poltergeist, type stuff to horror movies, sci-fi movies, comic books, and oh, you're ready to see it. It looks decent because I think Keanu Reeves was helping in on it as well, since it is from the John Wick universe. It does look good, but the John Wick series was good as well. I hope they do a couple more. I know they left it open at the end, and they could take different characters and branch it off, just like they're doing with Ballerina. So that'll be cool. Um, but if you are ready for the spooky season, I've seen all the other ones. Yeah, yeah, they're good. If you want to get into the same vein, get into Berserk, the comic that Keanu Reeves is writing for. It's really good. I've drawn a couple of blank covers for that uh, on some blank comic book covers, which is what we do here. We take blank comic book covers and we draw stuff on them. Just like, we were talking about me inking this process right here, right now. Lots of action going on here. But Keanu Reeves does have a book, the comic book out there called Berserk. It's spelt really weird, but if you look up Keanu Reeves comic books, you'll find it real easy. It's not hard to locate. Much appreciated. That's what we do here. This is one that I just finished inking. Colors are going to be coming up next. Right there, right there. Let me get a little closer so you can see some of the detail in there. Right there. But this isn't the only stuff I do. I do kids' books. I do family portraits. I do 18 by 24 pieces, paintings, all that good stuff. So, but much appreciated. That's just what I do here. Working on comic books. Uh, so apparently this is saying I've got some background noise coming on. Yeah, let me see here. There, okay, did that help? Did that change things out there? Are you hearing any background noise? I can't hear the background noise because I am not on TikTok. Uh, I rely on this little guy right here because he's supposed to take out all the background noise. But apparently, this was saying that I did have background noise going on. Boom, boom, boom. And she hears her TV. Okay, cool. I mean, it was telling me that there was background noise going on, but I didn't hear it. But again, I can't hear it. So, and whenever I go back and listen to these, I don't hear any background noise either. So I don't know what. TikTok's been doing some weird stuff. I put a perfectly safe comment on a cosplayer's post because she did a transformation into her crush, is what she called it, and it was Jessica Rabbit. Well, I've got a Jessica Rabbit piece that's really cool looking, with you know, her hubby in the background with his eyes coming out of his head, and they violated me for that. So I appealed it, and they reversed the appeal, and they were like, "We put your post back up because it does not violate." No shit, Sherlock. I think it's in this book. I could be wrong. Let me see. Dun, 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 dun. I think it's actually in the other book. Let me flip over to this book. I say that. There it is. This one right here. This is the one that I posted on her page. I said, "You mean like this?" And I said, "You're looking awesome in that," you know. And they went, "Boop, you're violated." You violated our community guidelines. It's just like, excuse me for posting a picture. And then this one glitters down here on that one. These are up for sale. So if you are interested in those, hit me up. I've got a lot of artwork for sale that I need to clear out so I can put more stuff and new stuff in there. So much appreciated, Ballerina. I appreciate that. Um, but got some voice acting gigs happening. Just got the new script for another voice acting gig in my email just yesterday, the day before. Lots of opportunities are abounding right here, right now. Like I was saying, um, got some new comic books in the works. Not only mine, but for Legacy Comics, who I did this cover for right here. Excuse me, for the Job 3. Got these up for grabs. You know, this is my painted cover for their book. Um, this one's still out there if you're interested in this one. Is Psycho Sound number 3. This was my first professional comic book uh, cover out there in the world. I do have some of those still available. And then I'm going to have a bunch more because through Legacy Comics, he's allowing me to do, different book covers and things like that for him, as well as I'm doing a whole book for him as we speak. And Casey, you have both of those books in hand. Well, not in hand yet, but you will when you pick those up. And I'm looking forward to you picking those up because that's cool. Let's see. T-shirts are going out like crazy, which is awesome. Um, it seems like I turn around and I get like one or two orders. Not daily, but relatively regular. So we're always looking forward to new orders coming in and things of that nature because it's always fun to see what people want to order. You know, and that's one of those cool things because it makes you feel good as an artist. When people are like, "Hey, I need that shirt," you know, and then when other artists recommend other people that are buying from them to you, that's a cool feeling as well. Um, just like I had happen just yesterday. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see if they actually turn out and order some artwork. So, but any piece of artwork that I have out there is available for sale at this particular moment, except for the ones that I showed you that I'm inking on. Those are already bought and paid for. They're just waiting to get finished and sent back to the people. And I'm getting closer and closer by the day. Um, and if you actually look at the picture, you can see where I change some things whenever I'm doing the inking process in there, because not everything stays the same that you see. You always want to change a little aspect here and there whenever you're inking because the pencil line might not have been where you actually wanted it in the beginning, and you want to change some things here and there. It's just like I changed the jacket. I did have it draped over his leg, but then it was like that's not real. The trench coat will not drape over his leg whenever it's in motion. It's going to fall off to the side. So I changed some aspects in there, those type things. But just little nuances here and there that you always change whenever you are working on a piece of artwork. So opportunities. Anybody else out there have some new opportunities abound for them? Anything happening out there for them that's exciting that you want to talk about? Any ghost related sightings, stories, poltergeist, anything like that? Like I said, whenever I was a kid, I saw a demon. That was my first experience with the paranormal, and yeah, it scared me as a kid. And today, it's like I want to go back to that house. I want to know more. I don't even know if that house is still there. Don't forget to like, share, and follow, please. That always helps our channel out. By the end of the week, basically, we have anywhere between 3 to 4,000 people that actually watch the show. Um, some watch it to its entirety. Even if we're on over an hour, which has been most of our shows here lately. I think the last show went almost 2 hours. Not the last show, but the show before. Nearly went 2 hours. So we had a lot to talk about on that one. And like Casey said, that was a heavy show, um, because of what the other person that I was talking to on the show was dealing with. You know, so it had nothing to do with the show. So Casey, you're not annoying. Actually, there's nobody annoying except for those ones that pop on here that just want to be disruptors. You know, those are the annoying people, and those are the ones you go, blocked. See ya. Have a nice life. And then they come on with another account, blocked. See ya. Have a nice life. You know, those type things. Um. So yeah, no, there's nobody that's really annoying out there. Not even you, not Roy, um, not Mister Nice Guy. You know, the normal people that are normal here. Kirk definitely not. You know, so all that goody good stuff. I mean, if you've got something legit you want to talk about, we'll talk about it. Just like you started out with the football stuff, Casey. Um, Now, for me, I watch pretty much just one game and then I get the highlights through TikTok or whatever. Especially whenever, like the Browns and Lions game, where nobody wanted to touch the punt returner, you know, and let him run back for a touchdown, and they had the opportunity to smash him, you know, to take him out, you know, lay him out and stop the ball, but you know they just kind of moved off to the side or went around this guy. Like there was at least two guys that could have plowed this guy, like you see in a lot of returns, you know. But see, I only watch the Dallas Cowboys. That's the only game I watch, and then I catch some highlights there. Like I said, whenever I'm flipping through TikTok or Facebook, I'll see some highlights and things, and then it's just like, wow, they really are scripting some games. I know a lot of people don't believe in that, but then there's the other conspiracy theorists that believe in that type of thing. And you can follow any rabbit hole you really want to on anything, you know, from checkers or chess matches to big sports like football, you know, or even baseball. Well, are they throwing that game? You know, just because are they getting paid to throw this game? You know, what is this a WWE script right now, or the ECW, or you know whatever wrestling sport out there is using their scripts, you know, like a daytime drama. It is not WWE anymore. It is now WW Days of Our Lives. So, you know, well, last week on WWE Days of Our Lives, here you go. Mr. John Cena couldn't be seen because he was doing this, you know. And then you got The Undertaker, who came back into wrestling after retiring. And Mr. Stone Cold is back in his wheelchair because he's so old now. So, um, it doesn't ruin my day. I'd if OU loses, but some it is so catastrophic. Yeah, yeah, but they haven't lost yet. They play Texas next, and I don't think they're going to lose that game because Arch Manning looks like dog trash. Um, and if you're a Texas fan, I'm sorry, but Arch Manning apparently isn't Peyton or Eli out there, or even after his uncle's namesake or grandpa's namesake, Archie Manning. So um, I'm sorry. And then everybody was like, "Yeah, he's going to be playing for Dallas next, you know, whenever he graduates." No, he's not if he keeps those numbers up. Um, you know what us call it, the visitors. Well, hopefully they're the visitors this weekend when we play them. Uh, because yeah, the awesome thing about the OU defense right now is that they have an awesome defense right now. I don't know if John Mateer is going to be back for this game or not, but I was impressed with Hawkins Jr. The way he performed this particular go around because he got beat by Temple the last time he was in, and so there you go. I know Roy is listening to this with bated breath because he's a secret OU fan. So, oh, somebody got filtered out there. I don't know if it was you, Casey, or if it was Roy, but somebody got filtered. It wasn't by me, it's by TikTok. Some comments in this live were filtered to protect the community's experience. Oh, let's see here. Looking at some old notes that are actually in my art box that I take to the comic book conventions. And some of the most highly requested stuff I haven't drawn yet. Omega Red and Iceman, you know. And yes, the kicker is a good one too. Um, has he missed one yet this year? I'm trying to remember. I think he's missed at least one so far this year. I think it was in game 2 or 3. I can't remember. But he's a good one. And I'm just reading. Because you always see this little stuff that pops up whenever you do, you know. Who did the 70? I don't know. I can't remember that one. Not right off the top of my head. Not without going and looking. Oh, this year? That was in preseason. He hasn't kicked a 70-yarder in regular season. So technically it doesn't count. But it's for one of the pro teams. I can't remember what it was. Now, if they would let Brandon Aubrey kick, he could probably kick a 75-yard field goal if he wanted to. That dude is spot on pretty much every time he kicks. Now, he did miss a extra point in this past Sunday's game, but it didn't hurt us any. So, oh, welcome back, Mr. Roy Joe. So he wasn't even listening. Well, the thing is, they're starting to hire these soccer players, and because that's where Brandon Aubrey actually played soccer and then he quit and was sitting doing a technical job because he's a smart dude. And his wife saw some kickers kicking, and she was like, "You could do this." And he was like, "Well, let's give it a try." So he went out to, I believe it was a high school football field or a college football field, and said, "Hey, can I kick around a little bit?" And they were like, "Sure." And he started kicking, and they were like, "Holy Nikes!" And so then he went into the UFL, um, the football league there, and then got drafted basically by the Cowboys. And he's been a spot on kicker ever since. I think he's only missed like 5 to 8 field goals tops in his career so far. Um, and anything from 50 plus yards, 55 plus yards, he's pretty much dead on. Um, yes, he's very young. I think he's in his early or late 20s, mid to late 20s. I think maybe early 30s, somewhere in that range. But he's a very prolific kicker. Let's put it that way. Um, but he it's a good addition. Jerry Jones just needs to sign him for the next 5 to 10 years at a good price because I saw another kicker that is becoming a dead on kicker as well that is about to get an extension of either a 4 to 5 year contract extension uh, for kickers don't get paid much, but still I think he was going to be making like 25 to 28 million um, for his contract at the 4 year rate. And so, that's still a pretty good chunk of change for being a kicker, you know. So Jerry Jones just needs to lock that in and go on because if you don't, he will walk to somebody else, you know. And we hate to see that happen because Jerry Jones, we all know, doesn't make the smartest choices in the world. He's been our problem since he bought the team back in '89, you know. So and and all of us fans know it, and the only person that doesn't know it is Jerry Jones or Stephen Jones. because those two just need to own the team, hire a general manager, and be done. Just like so many other owners out there are not the general manager of their team. They hire a general manager to manage their team, you know. And most of them have great success, others don't. Just like those that have never been to the Super Bowl, period, ever. Just like those that had great seasons last year but are now 0-5 or 0-4 or 1-4 or whatever, you know. Whereas the year before they were sitting right now, they were sitting at 4-1. But it's like Miami, Tennessee, the Jets. Let's see who else is at the bottom of the barrel. New York. That's both New York teams. I mean, even Washington is struggling this year. Yeah, they just won their game here this weekend, but um, uh, the Kansas City Chiefs. Everybody was like, "Oh, this is their year for the Super Bowl to be a rematch with the Beagles and all that good stuff." And here it is. They're middle of the pack, maybe even at the bottom of the barrel of their division. You know, and especially after their bungle loss this weekend, um, or on Monday night or whatever day it was that they played. Um, so back when I was a kid, the Cowboys ruled. They were a different level then. Oh yeah, but they had not Jerry Jones. They had Jimmy Johnson as a coach, and they had Staubach, and I mean you had Landry, Johnson, two of the greatest coaches to ever hit the gridiron, you know. And as soon as Jerry Jones gets in there, Landry, you're fired. Johnson, you're in, you know. And then of course Barry Switzer inherited the team. I cannot say that you know, he inherited the team that won a Super Bowl. Uh, he was a great college coach. He wasn't that great of a NFL coach. I, you know, I love Barry Switzer to death, but you know, he in the NFL ranks he wasn't that great. He just inherited a great team. Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin, Emmett Smith, you know, Daryl Johnson. Yeah, yeah, and you can see a lot of those greats in Norman still. You know, Bosworth, um, Tubbs. Uh, I mean, the list goes on and on. Oh yeah, he definitely likes himself, 100%, and he likes the ladies. So kind of like Bill Belichick. Hmm. Why he got in trouble? Hmm. No, wait, okay. Sorry, we'll digress on that. A lot of people love Bill Belichick, like Roy out there. He wants them to become him and Brady to go to the Dallas Cowboys, and I'm like, no, not even close. So yes, always several with him. He's always taking a picture with at least 2 to 3 women at the same time, with a big old cheese eating grin, on his face, and it's kind of sad, but a lot of people do that, men, women alike. So yeah, he kicked Arkansas's ass every year that they played them, um, especially back in the '60s and '70s. But that's awesome. Did you get his autograph on your shirt? Nah, some people don't believe in autographs of anybody, and and me, I wouldn't have certain autographs if I didn't like the people. Again, like I talked about the last show, I don't get awestruck with celebrities, and that's just because yes, you do have mine. Um, you do have my autograph. And I don't get starstruck like a lot of people do because again, when I worked with Walmart and I worked at the meetings and things like that, I was escort for the stars. You know, Katy Perry, um, Three Doors Down, uh, crap, Sofia Vergara, Gwen Stefani, um, crap, I just went blank on one of the big ones. Shoot, what the hell is his name? So it was awesome because he came down and talked to us. And he was eating a banana while he was doing a mic check, doing the sound test and all that stuff. And he came down and said, "Hey, blokes, how the hell are you?" When he came down off the stage. What the fuck is his name? I said it just the other day whenever we were talking, but I can't remember what his name is right off the top of my head. I'll think of it later. It'll pop into my head and I'll be like, "Oh yeah," and then everybody will be like, what?" Johnny Bench. I met him at a church. That's awesome. Good old Johnny Bench. I remember him. There's a lot of people that I remember back in the day, and it's just like, well, what are they doing now? Oh, some of them are dead. Um, not to make light of the dead, but we all get older and we become that way, which is it's the facts of life, and you know, and I'm not one of those that are gonna cry over spilt milk whenever they do pass on. I know that sounds insensitive of me, but what did they do to my life? Did they contribute financially to me? Did I talk to them on a regular basis? No. They're a celebrity. They don't even know I exist. And and it's like, but you see so many people that, yeah, I understand that they helped mold your life. I get that, you know, but if they weren't contributing to you like by talking to you on a daily basis, um, why are we boohooing? You they weren't your mother, they weren't your brother, they weren't your son or daughter, they weren't your grandparent. Now I know that some people are related to them in some form, fashion, or another. But there was somebody that passed away just here recently. He played. He was a shorter person. He played. Crap. He had dwarfism. He played some characters. So you never saw his face. He was always covered up. But it was sad to see him go. No, not Michael J. Fox. I didn't. He's still alive, right? I don't think he's gone yet. 'Cause I haven't seen that one come across the table. If he did, so now this was a an actor that always was in character. Always had some suit on. I just saw it come across my desk yesterday or the day before. Um, but an R2D2 type, but that's not him. So you meant Michael J. Fox? Okay, awesome. Yeah, he's him and Tim Curry. I feel sorry for them because of what they're going through in their lives right now. The diseases that are eating away at their system, and that's a tough existence, but they're going through it and they are making the best of it. You know, whereas you get some that go through it and all you see is gripe, 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 no matter what they post. You know, and it's like, well, you're choosing to gripe over your situation instead of helping people through the situation that you're going through. You just like Michael J. Fox, he's turned it into a campaign for himself and the disease. Unfortunately, Tim Curry um, still goes to conventions and things like that, but he doesn't let it slow him down either. Even though he's in a little bit worse shape than Michael J. Fox. Uh, so, but he doesn't do as many appearances as he used to. As far as Curry, uh, the girlfriend is gracious enough to have two of his autographs right now. And I'm still waiting to get a Robert England autograph. But I want it on the metal glove. You just because that would be the coolest. I'm gonna be looking. I'm gonna be doing some stuff on that one. Yes, medical strides have helped, and that's everybody. Now, here's the flip side of that. Let's go down the rabbit hole, shall we? Bum, bum, bum. Down the rabbit hole. Conspiracy theories. They've got cures for all this stuff. I fully believe that. But they're not releasing them because why would they? That takes money away from their pockets. Oh, we don't have anybody that's sick anymore. How are we going to make our money? How can we do these surgeries? How can we, you know, all that good stuff. Um yes, med beds and such. And that's the sad part about it. We have a cure for pretty much everything out there, but they will not release it. I fully believe it 100%. Um because just like somebody was talking about on a TikTok the other day, again, conspiracy theory. Why do certain diseases that we get have a patent number on them? And riddle me this, Batman. Because if it's got a patent number to it, that means it was man made. Exactly. Like you said, Casey, put some side effects in there. Well, have you read some of the side effects that come with some of the stuff that we take or they're supposed to take? You know, vomiting, diarrhea could cause passing away. Why would I want to take this shit then? I'd rather die, you know, because why do I want to take something that's going to put me in an early grave? You know, it's just like that fast little disclaimer that they read on all the medication stuff that comes on a commercial. You know, the micro machines guy reading all the stuff that is the side effects, and it's just like it's just like yes, there's patents on certain diseases out there. You can look that up. It is a true thing. Um, but it's just like, why would I want to take this medication then? Oh, so it can cure my so it can alleviate my pain by putting me under the dirt. Sweet, thank you, big pharma. It's just like a lot of the stuff that the VA sends me to take for PTSD and the things that they have diagnosed me with. You know, and he's trying his best he can. You're not going to see overnight changes in everything. You'll see overnight changes in certain things, but not everything. Just like it's going to take at least 2 to 3 years for things to roll out to get changed. So, just how it goes with any administration that comes in and changes things. So, right. So, but that's just the rabbit holes, the whole conspiracy theory stuff like that you can get into with anything. That's religion, that's politics, that's horror movies. Just like let's take Monsters, the hit Netflix series that's out there. The first one started with shit. The second one was the Menendez brothers. The third one is the Ed Gaines story. What was the first one? And the next one's going to be the Lizzie Borden story. Um, but they only have certain bits and pieces of the whole story. Okay, so like it said in a synopsis that I read, there are parts that are filled in by the imagination of the writer and the director, obviously. So not every aspect of what this story is going through is true. Okay, so they are taking their creative liberties and telling the story how they feel it went. So again, not everything that you're seeing on Monsters, if you're watching those shows, the true crime stories, is true. It's called Monsters on Netflix. It basically takes serial smillers out there and tells their story over a mini series type of a way. The first one was, so I can't remember exactly what the first one was, but the second was the Mendez brothers. Menendez brothers. The third one is the Ed Gein story with Charlie Hunnam from Sons of Anarchy, and then the next one is the Lizzie Borden story, the fourth adaptation. And again, they're taking creative liberties by throwing in certain aspects of the show that we didn't know or that didn't exist in the real story. Okay. So it's just like things that are based off of true events. There's creative liberties that they're throwing into these stories. So that's the good speculation that Lizzie didn't do it. Um, that there was an actual Schmiller out there that actually did it. And well, I'm sorry you're not feeling good, bud. That always sucks. Um, because she remained sticking to her guns that she was innocent. Now, you've got the paranormal side that have come into this to the house and psychic mediums and paranormal ghost hunters with their EVP machines and all that good stuff that have captured, you know, to the point where supposedly in her own words, she didn't do it. Yes, her lawyer didn't think she didn't. There's a lot of people that didn't feel like she did, but her own sister supposedly felt like she did. You know, the maid felt like she did because she was the only one there when it happened, supposedly. Um, so you're going to see creative liberties in these shows of monsters, like they said, that didn't actually happen. Okay, because no one knows 100% what happened other than the people that were involved. Like Ed Gein, he's the only one that knows his complete story, and if he was still alive today, he'd be like, "Wait a minute, none of that happened. I didn't used to do that. I didn't used to do the the strangulation in my mother's outfits, those type things." The Menendez brothers, I'm sure that there would be some discrepancies in that as well. Um, yes, her dad was not a nice person. All accounts prove that. He was a businessman through and through, ruled with an iron fist, and he just wasn't a good human at all. So if she did do it, I can understand that, especially if there was abuse in the household towards her mother, towards her, and then if she did do it, she blamed her mother for some of the stuff that was happening to her or her sister or the maids or whatever else. So all these, I'm gonna go back and watch all the monsters. We started watching the Ed Gein story because the girlfriend really likes Charlie Hunnam, which most women do out there, and it's not a bad thing. Um, we have his autograph right behind me, so she can always look at it instead of me when we're sitting at the table. You know, give her something cute to look at. But I've got Kate Beckinsale autograph. I've got um, Jennifer Love Hewitt's autograph. I've got shoot. Um, she was Dr. Dana Troy on Star Trek. Right here's her autograph sitting right here. But they are taking creative liberties in the show. So if you are watching the show and expecting it to be 100% truth, it is not. It is 50-50. 50% truth, 50% fiction. Okay? Uh, is that right? Fiction is false. I have to judge my head sometimes. But there's fake news in this, okay? Um, so there is portions of it that are completely made up that we don't have the gaps that we have in between the story of what we know, what we've read in the newspapers, what we've from say the any journaling that they found, any notepads or anything like that that had anything jotted down. We don't know the stories in between those gaps. So they're filling them in with stuff that they think could have happened. You know, it's just like if someone were to walk into my life and I didn't have any journaling done whatsoever. Um, they would take the parts that people talk about, take my two ex-wives, my kids, any relatives that's still alive that know me, girlfriends, that type of stuff, and they start talking to all of them, all those people. Well, you're going to get a different story from all of those people, and now they're going to make a story about my life. If I'm still alive and start watching this thing, I'm going to be like, that never happened. What the fuck is that? That didn't happen, you know. But I'm the only one that can tell my story because I've lived it. Now, again, I'm not a saint in my own story. I wouldn't be a sainthood, a little medallion that the Catholics carry around. You know, I'd probably be my hobo devil coin up there in some people's story, and in my own story too. I know the things that I've done wrong, in my life, and I admit to them and I own up to them. You know, and hopefully it makes me a better person on the other side. Of where I stopped, doing that shitty stuff in my life. But for somebody to come in and take creative liberties and be like, no, this is actually what happened. That's not what happened. You know. Will I have a memoir book? Probably not. Will I have a tell-all book? Probably not. I know some people that do that. That do have some tell-all books. I'm talking about personally. I know some people in my life that have tell-all books and are happy to spill the beans on everybody that they've come in contact with. You know, but that's not me. I could hurt people with knowledge that I have, but I'm not going to do that because the world is full of shitty people already. You know, and that's everybody's philosophy. Well, that person's a shitty person because of this. That person's a shitty person because of that. You know, and they never get to fully know that person, to know what they've been through. Exactly. Nobody wants a ripple effect. Nobody wants that karma. You know. That's why you keep crystals around. Like this, like this right here. These crystals. Look at that pretty crystal. Look at that pretty crystal. Look at that thing. That's so pretty. It's so pretty. It's so pointy. But that's no. I do have this one. This one's not as good, but it's got some nice points to it coming out of that rock right there, right there, right there. But that's the only ones I still have in my office. Everyone else has already been taken back to the other box. But yeah, no, everybody's story can be told by somebody else, but it's from their point of view. You know, it's not the complete story. It's only the story that they got to see, and that's Roy's life could be told that way. Casey's life could be told that way. Anybody else that's on here that I'm not seeing exactly who's here, your story could be told that way. But if you're not the one writing the story from start to finish, from childhood to death, then is the story going to be right? Is it going to be correct? Exactly. Just like fiction and nonfiction, you know, sci-fi and horror. Two completely different things, even though you can meld them together, which makes it really cool, makes it even better. Because I'm the ghost with the most, babe. so, Um, and it's just like, Sid Haig taking on the Captain Spaulding role. You know, great actor. Yeah, he was a campy actor, and but whenever he got into this role, he was over the top with it. You know, his Captain Spaulding role, and it was just awesome to see him in this role. But just a lot of actors get into a role that is just it was just made for them, you know. And Rob Zombie knew what he was doing by casting him in that role. Yes, he was completely real and convincing. And let me get my puzzle piece going on over here. Um, and there were some other roles that he wasn't so good in. You know, I watched basically it was a remake of Night of the Living Dead. Uh, I just watched it the other day. He was in it, and it was just like, that was kind of a hokey little role for him in that role in that movie. But he still did a good job. All the actors in it did a great job, but it was just a campy little remake of the movie because it was a colorized version. It had, they were stuck in the farmhouse just like everybody else was in the original. Started out with the same Barb and her brother, going to the funeral, but once they got there, everybody at the funeral had already been turned, you know, including her mother, grandmother, all that good stuff, and then her brother gets turned. So, but that's just how it goes. But it was a good movie. I mean, it was decent. The Butchers, the trilogy of the Butcher trilogy, that was a good one. I was kind of surprised whenever I started watching it, but it turned out really good. I watched another one called Butcher, and that one was decent. Um, I've just been watching horror movie after horror movie after horror movie while I'm doing artwork. I throw it off to the side. I'll glance at it every now and again. I'll listen to what's going on, and what I've seen and what I've heard of it is really good. Of certain things, certain movies, and a lot of these I'm finding on Amazon Prime. But it is. If you don't like horror movies, find the genre you like. You know, if it's a documentary, go for the documentary. If it's sci-fi, go for sci-fi. Whatever. There's a genre for everybody, and some people just like the heartfelt Hallmark movies. That's not me. I don't watch Hallmark movies. I'm sorry. My ex-wife did. Um, her mother did. I know my girlfriend's mother and her sister like some Hallmark movies. I don't think she's actually sat through a Hallmark movie herself, my girlfriend. I mean, I'm pretty sure she might have. So, but, you know, my Hallmark movies come from, like Freddy Krueger here. Oops, he just lost his glove hand. Let's put your glove hand back on. I need to put it on. Need to get it painted instead of just having it in the pewter primer right there. Dun, dun, dun. This is one that I 3D printed. So right there, right there. Got his hand to his heart. And this is, get Robert England to sign this little guy. That'd be awesome. But I've got to meet him first. And remember, October 31st, he gets his star on the Walk of Fame. Yes, Mr. Robert England, Freddy Krueger gets his star on the Walk of Fame on October 31st. So be on the lookout for that, you know. But he is one that I want to meet personally. And hopefully one of these days I will before he or I step off this mortal coil, you know. So I think he's in his mid 60s, I think. I think that's right. Just like I'm not even gonna say it. I can't even say that because that show is shit. I can't even believe it was 20 years ago that crap was written. Um, I'm sorry. If you love that series, that's on you. It makes me want to vomit in my mouth on a regular basis whenever it comes up. Um, because that is not true movieism in any way, shape, or form. The acting was atrocious. The theory behind the vampires was atrocious. Um, I'm actually getting a little sick to my stomach right now, to be honest. um, yeah, that was the worst of the worst of the worst. Uh, I can pick some Hammer horror films that are better than that series, right now, and they all involve Dracula in them. Uh, I mean, even the one, what was it, Once Bitten or First Bite or something like that. With I'm running out of brain space with all these um, actors that I'm trying to come up with. Uh, Jim Carrey was in it. That's an even better movie than that series. I know you guys love it, and I know you guys have your matching shirts to go. Well, you don't have the matching shirt anymore, but we're gonna get you that matching shirt. This is the ass of a killer, Bella, and you're gonna be wearing that stuff. Um, that is by far the worst vampire movie in the history of existence, the books included. Don't care. I You will never change my mind on that stuff. Depends on which ones you're talking about. I haven't seen a lot of his newest stuff. Um, the new movie Doctor Sleep or Monkey, because Monkey was a theme monkey or monkey. I don't know if this new monkey is based off of his book from Monkey Shine at that point in time, or I know there's because Doctor Sleep was the last movie that I saw that he had, because you had the new Pet Cemetery out there. Uh, so I'm not sure which new movie you're talking about. Because, like I said, there's one called Monkey out there right now that I thought was based off of his book. Whenever they already did the movie The Monkey, so I don't know if it's the same or not. But I think that would be the newest one if it is related to his. No, I haven't seen that one. Other than Salem's Lot, because there was a TV series on FX or something like that, Salem's Lot, which was based off of his book from back in the day, which they did a series on back in the day in the 80s or early 90s. With that one, with Rob Lowe was in there. And then you had Salem's Lot for the newer generation, which was mid 2000s, like 2010, 2012. Oh, Interview with the Vampire. You mean Anne Rice? That one is on AMC. Yeah, Interview with the Vampire is Anne Rice from her original book, 1976, I believe, which I have a first edition here at the house of Anne Rice. Anne Rice is a good writer. Now, I have no problems with her. Stephen King is on the flip side for me. Um, he's a great horror writer. He has some issues. I mean, yeah, getting hit by a van doesn't help, you know. But Lestat. Yeah, that was a good series. I mean, Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise was a little iffy for the movie for me, but I can understand why she used them, or they used them, in the did. So, but yeah. Now I haven't seen the new TV series at AMC for Anne Rice's Vampire or Interview with a Vampire, but I've heard it is decent. So, unlike like Vampire Diaries or uh, those shows that are very Days of Our Life esque, soap opera esque, if you will, um, and almost the same style of recording of them. So, you know, yes, I have a lot of problems with a lot of the cutesy vampire stuff, um, because that's not vampirism. I'm sorry. Yes, there's a lot of the wanderlust and the um, the sparkle and not skin, Roy, um, where they enchant people, just by gazing into their eyes and having all that stuff happen, where they fall for them and put them under their spell. So yes, she is very, very descriptive in her writing, and always has been. I mean, ever since her first books came out. Um, she also writes under a pseudonym as well, um, just like Stephen King has Bachman. Um, she writes under something else. See, I can't pull that up either. And Rod Stewart, I told you it would come to me, was the one of the other guys that I told you that came off stage with the banana, eating the banana during his mic check and sound check. But Rod Stewart was pretty cool to meet, you know, uh, back in the day. But I wasn't like, oh my gosh, I'm wetting myself right now just talking to you. No, I've never been that way. Even meeting Michael Rooker, getting him to sign a piece of artwork. I okay, you're another dude. You're pretty cool. I'm glad we talked, but time to go on. Time to go back to my table and sell more artwork. You know. So, um, but yes, Michael Rooker is right here. Where you at, Michael? Where you at, Michael? There's Pinheads. Oh, look. Speaking of Stephen King, right next to Jeffrey Dahmer. Right there. Boom, boom, boom. Yes, and this is the one the girlfriend had me draw up. Jeffrey Dahmer, right there, eating good food, I guess, if you will. If you know, you know. Bela Lugosi. Who were we just talking about? Oh, yes, Michael Rooker. Where is that piece, Mr. Michael Rooker? Where are you? Might be in my other one. I'm thinking it might be. I don't see it here. Dun, dun, dun. Yes, it's got to be in my other one. Got some legends in there. Ow. Oh, son of a dog biscuit. All right. We're going to find that Michael Rooker. There it is. Right next to Magic. So Michael Rooker autographed this piece right here for me. It's down in that lower corner. This is basically a lot of his characters that he's played, throughout his life. You got The Walking Dead, Merle. You got Yondu. You got Speedball or whatever he was in the DC Suicide Squad, and then you got his portrayal of a Western guy, cowboy, on the wrong side of the law in Tombstone. So, he loved that piece. We chit chatted about it for a little bit, and then it went on. So it was pretty cool on that note. And I'm traumatized. Why are you traumatized? About the Stephen King picture? You too can own it for the right price. Um, but no, lots of people. That's why I like Clive Barker. You know. Oh, you're correct. You guessed it right. Um, a lot of people and that's why I said that's why I like Clive Barker. He weaves an imagination world that once you start reading it, you're in it. A lot of people can get you there, but then you get the whole just word vomit. You know, like I'm not even gonna say the dude's name, but he started this scare mail that was supposedly going to be so terrifying that you didn't want to open the mail whenever you got it. To just say I laughed through the mails that I was getting because I got it for the girlfriend, and we thought it would be really cool. um, it was not. There was nothing scary about it. There was nothing even remotely terrifying about it, other than me spending that kind of money on it per month. That was the scary part, and uh, and it's just like if you're gonna claim this is gonna be the scariest thing to receive in the mail on a regular basis, then please make it so. Because what you're doing is just robbing people of their money, is all you're doing. Because there was nothing scary about it. There was nothing even remotely interesting about it, to say the least. Um, and it's just like, again, if you are going to claim that this is going to be the scariest mail that you get on a regular basis, then please make it so. Make it so that I do not want to open this mail. That's not what happened. I opened it, we read it, we laughed. She even laughed. It was kind of like going and watching Final Destination Bloodlines. I wish we would have waited for it to hit streaming services because that was an atrocious piece of stuff. It was an atrocious movie. Um, when you're laughing through the whole thing, kind of like Blair Witch or Paranormal Activity, something's wrong. Something's wrong. Maybe it's something wrong with me. Karen Black? No, that wasn't me. Now, I met a lot of people because I was a celebrity escort through Walmart at their meetings for 4 years. And I met a lot of people. Terry Crews. Uh, I mean, the list goes on and on. And I've got pictures of them, all that stuff of people that I escorted from the green room to the stage and back. And then from there to their tour bus as they're leaving, that type of thing, or their limo or whatever was waiting for them, the black sedans that they always had. And I've met so many different people. It's just the stars, just they're people. They put their pants on the same way we do. Yeah, they're more expensive pants. And no, I don't remember that. Well, that's cool. And it's just like they're people. You know, yes, I mean, if you don't get to meet celebrities on a regular basis, you're going to be starstruck, you know, and I get that. And then these new hot young actors that hit the airwaves, male or female, um, become the heartthrobs of women and men out there. And and then it's just like the movie President. And if so, please elaborate because there's a lot of president movies out there. Yeah, I met because they did a book signing up in Bentonville. Um, I've got his picture running around here somewhere, and I've got his autographed book about his dad, uh, Bush. No, I did not make Clinton. It was Bush. It was 41 was the book about his dad, uh, and I've got his autograph. I've got a picture with him, standing right next to him, and Unfortunately, he's another creepy one because he was all about the ladies as well. Um, Barbara wasn't with him, so but he had a thing for Desiree, that's for sure. Sorry, Desiree, but you know it's true. Cute little Hispanic thing that got to be, security, basically, if you will. So he probably still does. I'm not going to say he doesn't, but it was pretty cool to get to meet him and get his autograph, on the book, which is in my library for 41. Talking about his dad. So uh, that was very cool. But yeah, that's the only president that I've met. I've met a lot of senators and mayors and things like that being in the military. Um, I have yet to see it in person. So um, the governor of Oklahoma at the time, when I was in 2006 to 2007, came over to Afghanistan, and we got to meet him. What was his name? I remember when the one blew up. We were watching it on TV in school. Mrs. Unruh's class. We were watching it. We were excited. Next thing we know, boom! And we were all like, "What just happened?" And she quickly flipped the TV off. Uh, Talk about traumatization as a young child. There went that hole, especially with a teacher on it. And then all the speculation. She hit the wrong button. The memes that came out then, you know. No, but it was surreal to watch it happen live on TV. You know, and then the very next day, that's and to see it right on the front page of the newspaper. I used to have that newspaper somewhere. I know I don't have it anymore, but I did for the longest time. But yeah, no, the things that I've seen and done in my lifetime. I mean, Casey can attest. Roy can attest. We're all in the same age area now. Casey's got us by a couple years. Not by many, but by a few. I'm 54, and you know I'm over half a decade years old. So the things that I have seen from the 1900s to now, um, born in 71, so not 1900 straight up. That was my grandmother, my great grandmother. She was born in 1900. She lived to 95 years old, 1995. You know, so she got to see a lot of history in the making, if you will, a lot of technology being made. You know, and I believe she probably could have lived to over 100 years old. Had the stroke not hit her in '92, and it just changed her entire physicality of a being once the stroke happened. So I don't recommend a stroke to anybody. Um, we don't sound old. Come on, Casey. Come on. You seriously need to make an album out there, dude, with your music talents. Casey is a musical prodigy out there. He needs to make some albums to sell, uh, you know, and get his music heard out in the world. Um, and Roy, with his talents, he needs to make some stuff out there too. And me, I need to make some stuff, but I'm working on that. I've got stuff in the works, you know. Other than the stuff that I'm working for other people commissions, I'm talking about my own stuff, my own comic books, those type things. So, But we are looking forward to all that happening, when it does happen. Now, I'm working a lot of stuff with a lot of other people right now, so that's the cool part about this job is that I can work with other creators and create things, not just for myself, but for other people. Um, and so that's the cool part about what I do. You know, your stuff would sell, man. Come on, start slow. Put you out a full length album of say, like 6 different pieces on the album. So, oh come on, you've got a talent, dude. You've got a musical talent, and yeah, there's a lot of people that put out cover works, but I'm sure you could do something original. You know, uh, just spitballing out there and go from that aspect. But I believe in you, man. Other people would too once they started hearing your stuff. Start putting some of that stuff out on your TikTok page, you know, and go from there. Because I'm sure that you would be surprised, that you might have a good following at that point in time. Not that you don't have a good following now, but you might gain some new followers, just because of your musical talents. So, but that is it, folks, for today. I am going to kill it. I got some animals to go feed because they haven't eaten in a while. Um, and they're usually eating right about 3:30, 4 o'clock, but they're outside now. The pigs have moved outside. They come in every now and again. But we are going to kill it for to now. For to now. We're going to kill it for now. And we will talk to you guys next time, which will be on the 10th. That is the next even day, which is a Friday. And it's possible. We got some things that are happening, and we're not sure if Friday's going to happen or not. But if not, we'll see you on the 12th. So, but anyway, as I like to say as I leave you guys, we will catch you on the flip side. Have a good day, everybody.